Hello, Shane, we there?
All right, here we go.
All right, what's going on, guys? Good to see you. It's been a week since our last podcast. I'm here with Shane Thor, obviously, and I'm Lonely Doc 3, and this is episode 2 of our call it CODAgent Podcast. And we're pretty much just going to be talking about some of the some CDL news from this past weekend with the kickoff series, and also a little bit of what's going on with the challengers, and then we'll include a little bit about us in the last part of some stuff that we're doing coming up pretty soon. So, make sure to stick around for the whole episode, and you could always catch this episode through Twitch or also on our YouTube, and we'll probably be uploading some specific clips to our YouTube channel and other platforms as well. So guess we should probably
right.
get right into it then, huh? What are we thinking
so
here, Shane?
So basically we're just gonna talk about the our predictions from last week, how they went, who did good, who did bad, and then we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming pro stuff, and we'll talk about the Challengers Cup as well, and then some upcoming stuff we have at the end.
Right on. So starting off with the CDL kickoff weekend. Basically, we had 6 matches, I believe, and they were pretty exciting. Obviously, there wasn't really anything on the line here. In fact, a lot of the pros were calling them, glorified scrims because there was so much production around them. But really, since it wasn't for anything, it was kind of just like a scrim. Still entertaining though, and I thought it was some good, coverage of the scene and just like a quick preview of going into the next event or the first actual event for the CDL. Now on episode, I completely agree. On episode 1, Shane and I went through each of these matches, kind of decided which team we would all pick. So we went through picks and stuff like that, and we're gonna keep track of whose picks were correct, whose picks were incorrect, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see who picks the better team in most case scenarios. But there were definitely some surprises during these series. We're going to be getting into all of that pretty soon. So I guess we should start with the first one then.
Yes, sir. So the first match was between Dallas and New York, and you can click through a few times. Some stuff will come up. So I picked Dallas to win this one. Lone picked New York, which was a bit of a bad pick, won't lie. But he's a big New York fan, so can't really be picking against your own team. But this one, Dallas won 3-0. It was a pretty convincing series. Dallas was just a more practiced team. New York had just picked up Diamond Con. You knew it was going to be a tough series. That being said, after that, this past week in scrims, New York's been looking really good. They split 4-4 map count scrim with Dallas the other day. They beat LA Thieves 8-0 map count in scrims. So they're looking a lot better. And who knows, maybe Clay was just not taking it seriously. He kind of threw a 1v3 against Ilya on the checkmate. Definitely weird out of him, but again, if it's for no points or anything, I can definitely see him not wanting to give away any strats. And also Dallas is just a really good team. So I think Dallas is going to win this one.
I would say that this match is kind of one of the really untrue matches that we saw this past weekend because, the subliners, they just were ill prepared, and that was just because they had 2 players on their roster that they hadn't really been playing with for a very long time. So in Dallas, they pretty much had their team figured out since, they dropped Clay there. So
last year, so
exactly. So
makes sense.
But let's take a look at map 1 here.
So map 1, it was just Shotzi just going off. A 2.06, kind of just carried his team to the win there. Pretty sure he had most hill time too. He was really just doing it all this map. Clay didn't have the best map.
Hey, give me 1 second, Shane. Give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. Something's coming through here. Oh, okay. I think we're good, actually. Okay, going back.
Yeah, so Clay didn't have the best map. Mac didn't have the best map. But again, they still only lost 250, 192, and considering the slaying difference is really not that bad for New York. But again, Dallas just overpowered them in the slaying department. They outslayed them by 28 kills and only won by 60. So, that's one good sign for New York. If they can get their slaying under control, they're obviously playing the game pretty correct. But again, Dallas really just overpowered them on this map 1.
Yeah, dominance. Map 2, the
Yeah, map
checkmate S&D.
2, Hope Illy taking over in S&D. Had that crazy 1v3. It was kind of a momentum switch. It could have been 2-2 at that point, but I think that put Dallas up 3-1. And they kind of just ran away with the game at that point. Again, it just looked like Dallas was the more practiced search team here. It's not like anyone on New York really costed. Dallas was just a superior team, honestly, in this S&D.
Map number 3,
And
Raid.
then moving on to the control. I mean, Dallas did take one round. Asim went 15-30. It's gonna be hard to win when you have a player doing that. At the same time, Shotzi and Hook, they didn't do like crazy good. Their subs were -2. But it was really just Krim and Illy with the ARs just having really good maps. Illy, honestly, New York could have won a map here, or could have won this map. When it was 1-1, I think, they had a 2v1 at the end of the control round, and Illy just had a crazy 1v2 on the B point. So again, he was just icing up all series. Credit to him, because New York went up 2-1. They probably would have won that map, but Dallas was able to go up 2-1 and finish it off.
Yeah.
So again, it wasn't like it was a crazy blowout series. The respawns, if just a few things went New York's way, they could have won. And then Dallas is obviously, they're going to be a better S&D team than most teams because they've been together for a lot longer.
Right, yeah. I think one side note just to add here as a New York fan, I think the Diamond Con addition to the team, I think that was a pretty good addition. I'm not necessarily saying that he's better than Zuma, but I think he played pretty solid through the entire series. So I think it was pretty solid. But ASIM didn't really pick it up for the team, and it was just a bit brutal effort on his part. But yeah, so I think there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Apparently, they've been doing pretty well recently in scrims. So yeah, but going on to
I agree too. Even that I think that maybe DiamondCon isn't like a better role than Zuma as a sub, but I think Mac talent wise might be a better sub than Zuma at this point in their career. And picking up DiamondCon, Mac could switch off the AR onto a sub, and DiamondCon's not running the AR, so I think it does kind of work out for them better roles wise. So yeah, that's a good sign as well.
Was Mac younger than Zuma? I think is he?
Oh yeah, no, Mac's 19 or 20.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, he's pretty cracked player. So, I mean, pretty solid all around. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Map number 2, or game number 2 actually. Yes. Surge versus the Gorillas, and Shane's a big Gorilla guy.
Huge Gorillas guy. I had to pick the Gorillas. I definitely said that this one was going game 5, no matter who won. I thought if it did go game 5, that Gorillas were gonna win. The Surge did win map 2, but I think that those players on that team just aren't great Surge players. Surprising though that the Gorillas won both hard points. I said if the Gorillas won, they were gonna win 2, 3, and 5, but they actually ended up winning both hard points and then map 5. But again, pretty close series. The Gorillas kind of blew them out map 1, and then it was just back and forth from there, and then they end up coming out with the game 5. But yeah.
And that is another incorrect pick from me. So.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really thought the Surge was just going to come out on this one, but yeah, I guess I was just wrong. And Shane, I knew you'd only choose the Gorillas because you've always liked the Gorillas since the beginning of NW. So
Vivid guy.
yeah, Vivid's a good player too.
And then they picked up Vivid, huge Apathy guy too. I'm
Yep.
not the biggest Alien Assault fan, but
Right.
I mean, Vivid and App I'll take.
Now I do like most of the Gorillas team. Like I like Silly. I like Vivid a lot actually, and then Apathy I think is a really solid player too. But with the Surge, I just really felt bad for Octane last season, and I really wanted to see him, especially with Gunless too, like complimenting him. I thought that they would really be able to pull it out, but we'll see what they do. Yeah, we'll see what they do the rest.
Yeah, it's just kind of an exhibition, but definitely shows the Gorillas aren't horrible.
So, and then here's some stats from map number 1.
Yeah, so I mean on this one, just pretty big blowout. They just outslayed them heavy, beat them by 130 points. They pretty much just beat them on rotation to almost every hill. Apathy won some big gunfights on P3 rotation one time, or he won 1 or 2 gunfights, but played his life for a while. That allowed the Gorillas to chain hill number 2 to hill number 3, and if you're able to chain Raid's pretty much just trading 60s the whole game. So if you're able to chain 2 hills in a row and get a 120, you're basically going to win the game. So yeah, they were able to do that, come out on top. And yeah, but then the Surge on a raid S&D do respond pretty well. Assault went 1 and 8. You had Gunless. I mean, pretty much everyone going off. Pristini went 11 and 6. Octane 6 and 5. Gunless 7 and 4. Just pretty good map all around. They win 6-3. So then you're thinking, oh, they're back into it. Then they win a really close Garrison control as well. Yeah, I mean, Apathy just kind of got costed here. If you look at the scoreboard, like, oh my god, a guy had 10 more kills than anybody in the entire lobby. Definitely tough for him. I mean, oh my gosh, Gunless had 6,800 damage with only 26 kills.
That's been going through it.
Yeah, Seattle does pull out with the win. They get outslayed, but they're able to pull out the win. So credit to them on that. I mean, man, Vivid, credit to him. Love it. I mean, look at that. Vivid had more damage than Apathy, but Apathy had 10 more kills. So Vivid probably got to get those team shots going a little more. But yeah, it definitely good map from both teams here. But Seattle's able to come out on top despite getting outslayed. Or actually, no, they did out. Wait. There may be a glitch here because it says that Seattle got outslayed by 6, but then if you count up the numbers on Gorillas, they got outslayed by 4. So I don't know. This might feel a little messed up. Who knows?
All right. Well, we don't have to look into it that far, I guess.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we can just move past that one.
Yeah. Map number 4.
And again, the Gorillas showing out in Hardpoint, which is definitely surprising. Yeah, pretty much everyone but App going even. His teammates pick him up on this one after the control. And yeah, they're able to win this Moscow. You know, you got Pristini and Octane having pretty good maps. Aluni didn't have the best one, but I mean, this came right down to the wire. Apparently Seattle thought they had won this map really close at the end, but Gorillas were able to pull out. And yeah, push it to a game 5.
Yeah, this
Garrison as well.
That last Moscow one was a really good map to watch. That was fun. But yeah, I mean, Gorillas were dominant in Search here on Garrison.
Yeah, so I mean, Gorillas win 6-3. Silly goes 2 and 4. But Vivid and Apathy with the subs just going off. Apathy in the vents was going crazy. Again, Pristini and Octane, not the best maps. But like, Octane 2 kills with 1,400 damage. Definitely a tough one there for him. But yeah, I mean, Seattle was able to probably win their S&D pick in raid, and I'm sure the Gorillas picked this map Garrison. They were able to close out the series with this one. Definitely a tough series between both teams, but Gorillas were able to come out on top. I think it was mostly that map 4. If Seattle was able to ice up that map 4, obviously it would have been huge.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Game number 3.
Crazy series.
Yeah. No one saw this one coming. This is FaZe versus the Mutineers.
I mean, we both picked FaZe here. I mean, yeah. I don't really know anybody that didn't pick FaZe. Like, people were saying, you know, the Mutineers are a pretty good team, but nobody really were going to pick them to win because FaZe was, everyone thought FaZe was like the number 1 team.
Right,
so,
yeah.
And Mutineers have just made a roster change, too.
Yeah.
So, credit to them for improving with the new roster and coming out on top against arguably the best team in the game.
Yeah, no, everybody thought that FaZe had this one in the bag, but especially Shane and I mean, both picked it, and we're both wrong. So 3-2 to the Mutineers.
Very strong prediction, man.
Yeah, but Shane, yeah, I'm going through it, but.
But yeah, I mean, map 1 Garrison again. Like, Mutineers got outslayed by like 22 kills here, only lost by 30. Pretty good sign for them that they're doing something right. Obviously. Obviously playing the game correct, just couldn't overcome the slaying power of FaZe, but only lost by 30, not bad. Going into map number 2, this was huge. Icing up round 11. Sky's going 15 and 7. Slack will give him a bit of credit because I believe he is bomb planner, which on Garrison sometimes like you just go to get that B bomb down and you're gonna die. You're in a tough spot usually. So. Not going to take too much away from him, but Sky's Awakening going off for their team in this one, and they pull it with a round 11 win. Then the control on Garrison, you had Neptune kind of going off, Skies going off. Slacked and Awakening did not have the best maps. They only lose at 3-2 though. Cell and Abizi were kind of going off. So credit to them. Cell with 36 kills in the lobby. FaZe, again, pretty much all these maps have been crazy close. Won the hardpoint by 30. Control by 1 round, and then the S&D round 11. So crazy close series here until the crossroads where Florida just came out and absolutely fried FaZe, which is insane to see. I don't think anybody had really seen FaZe get beat this bad this year yet. So credit to Florida. Everyone on their team is positive. Everyone went off. So good for them on that one. And then Game 5, they end up winning 6-3. Not that close. I believe they were trading rounds back and forth at the start. And then Florida might have won 3 in a row to finish off the game. So yeah, Awakening with a big map, Skies with a big map. And Slack did pretty good too. So credit to Florida. Definitely coming out upset and arguably what people were saying was the #1 team before this. So I think Florida definitely shows they're clearly in the top 4, top 3 conversation this game.
Yeah. I think FaZe is probably still up there. I mean, they're a really good team still. Yeah. And credit to Neptune. I mean, that guy really stepped it up, especially, people weren't really sure with his whole switch from Halo, right? And but yeah, he's really proved it in this kickoff series at least. So
yeah, no, he actually side note from that, before he was switching, he played one of our tourneys.
Yeah. BO4.
Yeah, BO4, and it was him, Mental, and 2 other guys. They ended up winning it, but I played against him, and he dropped like 15 every game. Whereas Mental, not discrediting him, but he was going like 5-7, 5-8, and this guy Neptune was just going off. So when I saw Mental got signed, I'm like, this Neptune better get signed soon because this guy was absolutely carrying him going off. Obviously he's BO4, and Neptune had played a lot of BO4, but still, guy was crazy.
Right. Yeah. No. We'll keep an eye on him to see how he progresses through the season as well. So, all right, next game we got Royal versus Paris, and pretty sure this was a shock to us too. And Shane, I think you chose. Yeah, you chose. So you chose Paris. I chose London. I think you made a last-minute switch when we were going through the picks to choose Paris.
I did.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought you were really going out on a limb there. Really interesting choice for you to pick Paris because they had just gotten their roster together, like only a few weeks of scrimming. And that was kind of crazy. I mean, so they took the series 3-2 against London, and yeah, crazy. Side note, real quick. I think Parasite's scrimming with London now, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think if Parasite was with them, maybe instead of 0 when they actually played, they might have won.
Oh, you think so?
Because they had 0 playing from London. That's honestly the only reason why I switched my pick to Paris, was because I knew that 0 was playing from London. But again, obviously they showed they're a pretty decent team too. And dude, in the chat, bro.
I see it now.
Yeah, bro. Camera is elongated, man. Not much we could do about it last minute is what it is. And thanks, Oasis. Love you, brother. But yeah, Paris ended up winning. Fire going off, Aqua going off. Good series for them. And I think they definitely showed a lot of people that they're not going to be completely horrible this year.
Side note on the real quick side note on that camera elongation. I think Dasson's a fan.
Oh yeah, Dasson loves it.
So, anyway, continue.
Yeah, we'll go over this map 1 here. Again, Aqua had an insane map, 33-18 on Garrison. I mean, nobody on London had like a crazy bad map. 0 and Alex didn't do the best, but I mean, 0 is probably playing on 100 ping.
Yeah.
So not ideal for him. And I mean, he still didn't do that bad considering they lost by 70 points. It was definitely going to show up more in the respawns. But London does come back in the checkmate search and destroy. They win at 6-4, and 0 is able to drop a 1.5 in this one. Again, it doesn't matter as much in search. Scrap going 1-8. Not the best map out of him. But yeah, London showed they are a pretty good search team, and they win the control as well. And 0 is able to go positive on this map. And again, Scraps map between maps 2 and 3 goes 10 and 27. So not the best performance out of him. Fire and Aqua had good maps for Paris, but they couldn't win a round in the control. But then again, they come back in the hard point. Again, it's Fire and Aqua having great maps. So Scraps turns it around 2, drops a 1.3. And Zero, again, in the hard point, it really showed, going 16 and 32. Not going to be ideal from that perspective. And then again, Paris ices up on a map 5 Miami. Zero actually did the best on his team in this one. So probably gets a little tilted at his teammates on that one. He's on 100 ping, doing the best. But Classic had a great map here, and so did Fire. So again, Fire really showing out, showing that he's the right pickup for Paris kind of to build around. And Aqua, I think, showing a lot of people too. I mean, he's been a good AR in the past, but definitely showing that he's still got it.
Yeah, definitely. Z Surge, thanks for the follow. Just do you know who Parasite's taking the place of in scrims?
Zero. Yeah, Zero, because he can't get over to.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I think it will be good for London, though. They don't really have an IGL. So it would be nice for someone like, if they listen to Parasite, to have someone like him get in.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not too sure, if these players are one to necessarily clash with each other. I don't know too much about these players, but I know Parasite, if there's tension, like Parasite's just going to fuel the tension, but we'll see like how these guys mesh. I think it's going to be a good combo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So
definitely agree. Then on to the next one.
Battle of the North.
My first, well, actually, the first messed up pick that wasn't like crazy. You got the Roker in this one. You definitely wanted attach, big attach guy.
Big attach guy.
And I'm a pretty big Toronto fan. Couldn't really pick against Toronto. I picked them a lot last year when a lot of people didn't, and they did well for me. But they're also one of the only teams that didn't really so they didn't make any changes, but that could also be argued that they didn't really make any upgrades because the league got smaller and more competitive. So them not making any changes could be viewed as a bad thing. So who knows? But Rocker have been looking pretty good as well. So it's kind of hard to judge. This was a relatively close series. Obviously, went Game 5. A couple of the maps were blowouts, but it did end in a Game 5 round 11. So.
And just want to emphasize here that I won the pick over Shane. So.
Yes, you did. You did get this. You think this went over?
Yeah, not too many wins through this kickoff series for me, but definitely got this one. So, map 1. What are we thinking?
Bands coming absolutely crazy. 37 kills, no one in the lobby. He had 10 more kills than anyone else in the lobby. They only won by 6, so he was just going completely crazy this map. Kleenex and Methods were kind of trying to throw it, but credit to Bands for picking them up. They win this map 1 on Garrison by 6 points. And Garrison seems to be one of the favorite hard points, which is kind of crazy to me. But I think it was played in almost every series, so.
Yeah.
One thing to note. But moving on to map 2, the Rocker are able to take it 6-4 over Toronto. Major Maniac with a crazy 12-4 map. Kleenex going off for them as well, and then Bands after the crazy map 1 does go 2-8 map 2. And they only lost by 2 rounds, so definitely could have turned it around there, but he did ice up map 1 for them, so can't say too much on that. But then Checkmate Control, just a complete blowout from Rocker. Accuracy 17-6, attach 17-7. Just completely going off. Nobody on Toronto really had a good map. Just pretty quick blowout. Not too much to say on that one.
Right.
Then it kind of flips around in the next hard point on Checkmate, the same map, interestingly. Bands goes 33-18, going crazy in the hard points. Cammy has a pretty good map as well. And Attach the only one positive for Rocker. So big map for Toronto there, but they can't close out the Game 5. I think they had something like, they had like 7 round 11s last year, and they lost like 5 or 6 of them.
Really?
Yeah, Toronto not icing up too well, but
yeah, wow.
They did have that one win against FaZe in the tournament that did matter, so credit to them. And again, this is just an exhibition, but Kleenex trying to go crazy in the S&D, I think. I mean, he went 10-7 both S&Ds, and his teammates really didn't do too well. So, tough for them. The Rocker, obviously, they had 6 more kills than them. They were kind of dominating. I'm sure Rocker got defense round 11. So it's going to be tough for FaZe there. But again, promising, or tough for Toronto there. But again, promising for both teams. Obviously, they both played pretty well. So yeah, interesting to see them in the future, but another tight 3-2.
Yeah, I think Bant's played so well this series in terms of respawns that for the Ultra could be a pretty scary team in respawns if you just have a few of their players step it up. Whoever's like
Yeah,
lacking. I mean, if they just
I mean, he's been really good in the
yeah
past, but I mean, yeah, he's looking really good this game as well. So, yeah, like you said, if some of their players step up, if Methods and Kleenex play to the level we know they can, yeah, this team could be. Because I mean, last year Bance was always kind of viewed as the weak link. So
yeah
it's like,
right.
how if some of these other players start playing how they were playing last year, Toronto could be really scary.
Yeah, it's really interesting how a game really changes things, but also it is the beginning of the game, so we'll see how he does throughout the rest of the game. But he looked really good this series. So, all right, now this is the pay-per-view title match here. It's pretty much what everybody was looking forward to this weekend. LA, Nate Shot's team versus Hex team, Optic Gaming, which is returning. Shane and I both had Optic in this one. And thank God we chose that. It was a nice, clean 3-0 for Optic Gaming. And I mean, it was total domination, I feel like. So.
Yeah, this and FaZe, these are the only two that Brett and I agreed with on the pick, but this one we got right. So credit to us on this one. But yeah, I mean, I always thought that Optic was going to win. They're usually really good early year. The players have been playing well in scrims. I definitely thought 100 Thieves were going to put up a bit more of a fight.
Yeah, same.
But, good 3-0 for Optic here. And honestly, 100 Thieves hasn't been looking good in scrims lately either. So we'll see what the future holds for that team. But they may want to get Draza in for one of the subs, low-key.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like, they're all good individual players, but for some reason, this team doesn't necessarily feel correct to me, but I think that they could be better with maybe a change.
I think that Temp, TJ, Kenny, they all kind of have like, not like egos, but they all kind of have like big attitudes. Same with Slasher. Like,
yeah,
I just thought someone like Draza would fit a lot better into the team. Someone who's just willing to basically strictly listen to Slasher. And I really didn't understand. I mean, not saying Temp's a bad player at all, but I just didn't really understand like signing another player when you already had someone like Draza who did really well last year on your bench. I thought he should have been starting this year, but
yeah,
odds are like you might end up getting in anyway. So we'll see.
No, that's for sure a good point. I mean, these players all kind of have somewhat of an ego to it, so that's probably why they're not meshing too well right now. But
it's somewhat justified. They've all won before, so credit to them.
Yeah, but that could also lead to their ego. So
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, let's take a look at map number 1. This is on Garrison.
Map number 1, I mean, it was close. Thieves are out to a lead at the rip. They held like P1, P2, but pretty much the rest of the game, Optic just dominated. Scump, Formal, and Dashy all having great maps. Yeah, there's not really too much to say here. It's kind of a blowout.
Yeah.
No, Thieves really did like terrible, like really, really bad, but nobody did good. They all just kind of had pretty low average games. And yeah, just the slaying from Optic just really took over this game.
Correct. Yep. Map number 2 on the checkmate. This was a little bit back and forth, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely back and forth. I mean, you had Kenny dying every round, which is unfortunate. Envoy going 10-6. He's obviously the S&D specialist on this team, so credit to him going off when he needed to in S&D. And yeah, I mean, Temp 4-7, Slasher 5-6, Kenny 7-10. TJ again, who's been known to be decent S&D as well, drops a 1.33, but it's just not enough, and they lose by 2 rounds.
Right. Yeah. And then the last map, Raid Control.
Envoy only dying 12 times the whole map, going off. Temp's the only positive one on his team. So again, just in the respawns, they just blew out Thieves. S&D, like you said, was a bit back and forth, but there really was no contest in the respawns, and Optic came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this map was pretty interesting because you got Scump, an old timer playing Raid, but it's actually Control, so kind of interesting to see how he plays it. And yeah, they definitely smoked him on this one. So
yeah, no, and I mean, this is one good sign from this though is we got over 100,000 viewers at the kickoff last year. We didn't break 100,000, so definitely nice to see that. Because and I mean the one last year actually meant stuff. It counted for CDL points, and it didn't mean a lot. It wasn't like a tournament. But this, considering it was basically just a scrim getting that many viewers, is a pretty good sign as well.
Right. Right. So yeah, let's take a look at these summaries on our picks here.
All right, so
Yeah.
I went 4-2. Lonely Doc went 2-4. So we'll be keeping track of these this year. Again, next weekend, as we'll show, we can probably switch to that slide right now. There's a lot more picks to go.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so we have 10 matches this next weekend. So, this is just kind of a warm up. We're gonna have a lot more picks to go. Yeah, I think we should do picks for the whole weekend. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it. Maybe we'll do the Thursday, Friday picks before, and then like on Friday do the Saturday, Sunday picks because.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna get more information on the teams as they play their first games. But again, some notable ones. You got Optic FaZe, last match of the weekend. I think New York LA will be a pretty good match as well. Gorillas Paris should be interesting.
It's interesting.
Should be interesting too.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're structuring these. So, not all.
Pools, yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, so this is pools, right? But it seems like some teams play.
Different pools, yeah.
Seems like some. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So Dallas can't play Optic or FaZe, I'm pretty sure. They're in like a different pool until like the first major, which is in March.
Right.
So these like home series are just like it'll rank teams in their like separate divisions and it'll just give them seeding for the major at the end of the month, basically.
Right. Right. So yeah.
So it's kind of nice because we have content every week. But it's kind of different how the teams are split up. But that being said, at least at the majors, every team will be there. Last year it was different, only 8 teams were at the majors, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, it'll be nice to have all the teams there. One more interesting one is Paris Optic. We're not going to do our predictions yet. We'll do a show for that right before. But Paris Optic, they recently just split maps in the scrim like 4-4. So Paris is looking pretty good. I'll be interested that'll definitely be an interesting match that not a lot of people will probably be paying attention to. I mean, people will watch it because it's Optic, but people won't think much of it because they're playing Paris.
Yeah.
But I think there could be some upset potential there.
I think most people are going to think Optic's going to win it easily, but I don't think it's going to be too easy for them to win if they do win. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, now we're going to just talk about challengers real quick.
Yeah, so want to start off by pointing out that John is back. And, he teamed with Mochilla, I believe. Mochilla, Noisy, and Gunzy.
Yeah, Dirty South, they got T16.
Yeah, pretty good for his first cup.
Pickup team. They didn't practice at all, so, T16, not too bad, considering they literally had no practice as a team. You see a lot of good teams like Aches, Lacefield, Lamagod, Mox, Royalty, Dave, Patty, General. A lot of these teams got T32 with a bunch of practice, so credit to them for getting T16. Obviously not where John wants to be, but on no practice, not too bad. And we'll talk about the players in the top 8 after this too, but this is just the screenshot we grabbed when we were making the slides.
Right, yeah. It's actually quite shocking to see, Triumph going to top 32. Also, Balenciaga Tim's going to top 32. I mean, they did really well the last cup. They went top 6.
Yeah,
top 6.
So. Astrial Lured and them got top 6 last time. And, they didn't have the best seed before, so it's not like their top 6 placement. It didn't get them a crazy seed. I think they still had like a seed in like the mid-teens, like 18 or 19. So, placing T16, I think they still would have had to beat like a 13 seed, which would have been tough. But, just still disappointing for them after last week. Just a note, TJS, which is Fazzini & Co., Fazzini, Buckerson, Slapex, and Bennett. They got T32. They beat Sensor's team.
Right.
Got accused of hacking.
Yes.
And the match got reverted. Then it got unreverted because they're like, now we don't think they're hacking now. So that was a weird one, but credit to them for getting their first T32. I'm not sure if it was everyone, but I know it was Fazzini and Buckerson's first T32 this year. Mohawk got T16, and there's going to be the Challengers Elite next Saturday, and we're likely going to do a prediction show picking who we think the top 8 teams will be to get into that Elite League. So that'll definitely be cool. But But yeah, you got LAG Academy in T16, but I think they've been playing around there normally, so that's not too
Yeah,
notable.
yeah,
But another one is Big Head and Jazz.
yeah.
Big Head and Jazz School, got accused of hacking a ton before.
Right. Yep. And the
They've,
Cheetos.
they've done a lot to try to clear their name, and now they're teaming with Tiny and Bink, and they got T16, so credit to them. And then the last big one is Wester, who got first place 4 times in a row. And the first 4 cups is now down to T16, and they lost to Scrappy,
Teskey.
Onyx, Teskey, and Insight, who actually finished T6. They didn't even go on to. I mean, T6 is good, but they didn't go on to do anything crazy either.
Right. Yeah. You would expect a team who takes down the 4-time champs to win, but
Yeah.
I mean that's a really good team that beat Wester, but yeah, we all thought that Wester was just on top of the world at one point. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see this, other competition coming in. So
Yeah, definitely good.
yep. And yeah, do we want to take a look at the bracket as well? I think we
Yeah,
have.
let's take a look at the top 8 bracket. Some of the teams that are left.
Yeah, so if I just give me a second to change here. We've got, this was the winners bracket of the cup, and this is going top 8 forward, I believe. So
Yeah.
yeah, so NYSL Academy made it out.
Winners finals. Yeah.
Yeah, it was slammed. That was that Teskey team that ended up beating Wester.
They lost to D-Gen.
Right, they were ranked number 1, and they lost a pretty close one to D-Gen. It was actually a reverse sweep, so that was a pretty crazy match. And then NYSL got a swift 3-0, I believe, on D-Gen. If not, it was a 3-1, but I think it was a 3-0. 3-0. So yeah, and yeah, here's the loser side. So
Yeah, so I guess Slam technically actually got a T4 then, so that is pretty good.
yeah,
UT Crew, who is Phantoms. I forget the rest of the team, but it's Phantoms team. I mean, I guess you can click on them.
right.
Let's see.
Gintroid.
Yeezy, Phantoms, Donerac. So yeah, they beat them. I believe they beat them 3-0. I could be wrong though, but I believe I watched it end on a control. Or no, it ended on a hard point, I believe. So yeah, it was a 3-1. I'm pretty sure for UT Crew. But we were kind of creating this as I was looking on the side. But yeah, the top 3 right now are D-Gen, UT Crew, and NYSL. So definitely interesting to see there. NYSL, obviously, they've been the second best team for a while now behind Wester, so they're likely the favorites to win this now. But again, could see upsets from D-Gen or UT Crew. I'd say D-Gen's run is likely done.
Yeah.
That UT Crew's probably going to take them out. But again, going up to top 3, crazy for them. Yeah, just really good for players like Mind and Cruz coming over. Just, yeah, credit to them. They've been grinding. So glad to see them get top 3. But yeah, Pro Loot, Frosty, Saints, and Spart, really good team for the New York Academy. So I think they'll come out with the win. But again, anything's possible. It is online COD. And obviously, if Wester can be beat, pretty much anybody can.
I believe Hold Shift is the one casting this right now.
Let's see how it's looking. We got
first map.
Yeah, it's just starting right now. Losers finals.
And it looks like D-Gen's up in the hard point.
Up by 40 right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that's very
could
interesting.
be interesting.
Yeah, cool stuff. So let's take it back for a second. And we got one more announcement to make, and then we'll cap off the podcast for this week.
Yeah, so we got a Cold War variant tournament tomorrow. I'm going to be posting the signups later tonight. So stay tuned for that and get your team signed up, get some extra practice in. But yeah, we'll likely be back next week with some predictions for the Challengers Elite Qualifier. And then the week after, we'll have ones for the first pro weekend, for the first home series.
Yep. So this should be a good one. Y'all should participate. And yeah, so stay tuned with our other stuff. We're going to be releasing one episode of each of these podcasts, every single week. And yeah, should be some good stuff coming forward. We're going to continue to host tournaments, and we will also be hosting scrim finding throughout the week too. And we might be doing it a bit more often than we have in the past because, usually if we have a tourney,
Our retirement home now.
yeah, so if we have like a tourney or something, then we're gonna be closed for scrim finding, but we might try to do a few things to open it up for scrim finding while we have attorney. But yeah, we're doing some engineering behind the scenes to try to figure out if we can manage those two things at the same times, because we get a lot of traffic with both. So yeah. With that being said, this is pretty much going to wrap up our CODAgent podcast for the week. And yeah, I'm Lonely Doc 3. This is Shane Thor over here. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.